Hare Krishna. Let's make a start. Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunj Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Giravardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giravardhari Shodhanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Shodhanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Samrupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranmami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatu Brehascha Kirpa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Prati Vachalam Pangum Langyate Green Yat Kirpatah Mandeshi Gurudin Taranam Paramananda Madam Chaitanya Hariyan Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Sasvyatam Tatoche Madhuriyat Nasta Preshabdreshu Nityabhavasya Bhavatutam Lage Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. So Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining, and we'll continue verse 30 to 33 today. And last time we were discussing that Dhritarashtra eventually realized his situation, his position, and decided to leave home, persuaded by or courtesy of Vidur, his younger brother, and he left home quietly without any fuss or any goodbyes, any rituals. Family, be like hard to give up if people start making a fuss, so they just left very quietly, as one does. And for us, it's recommended that we stay at home, but we become more and more detached from our family life. So internally we're detached, externally we're doing everything, but internally we're not attached to anything anymore. We're attached to Krishna instead, and we give our heart, in other words, to Krishna rather than other attachments, and only take association of devotees, which means you only take their advice, their instructions, not mundane. People trying to persuade you, convince you to do other things and break the regulations. So you don't do that. Just take advice of sadhu, shastra, and guru. And then you can move forward like that, living in this world. So let's go 30. Okay. Prati prayantam subalasya putri pativrita chanu jagam sadhavi Himalayam nesta dhand prasham manasi vinam eva satsam praharaha. So Patim, her husband, Prayantam, while leaving home, Subalasya of King Subal, Putri, the worthy daughter, Pativrata, devoted to her husband, Cha also Anu Jagam, followed Sadhavi, the chaste, Himalayam, towards the Himalaya mountains, Nesta Dand, one who accepted the rod of the renounced order, Prahashram, object of delight, Manasivinam, of the great fighters, Eva like Sat, legitimate, Sampraharaha, good lashing. So they bringing Gandhari into this now. So they're leaving home, and what does Gandhari do? The gentle and chaste Gandhari, who was a daughter of King Subal of Gandhar or Gandhar, followed her husband. So she's always followed him, always helped him, and he was blind. She put a cloth over her eyes to be on the same level as him. So amazing wife. I don't know if she's doing the right thing, but from her point of view, she was. Saying that he was going to Himalaya mountains, which are the delight of those who have accepted the staff of the renounced order, like fighters who have accepted a good lashing from the enemy. So Subalini, or Gandhari, daughter of King Subal and wife of King Dhritarashtra, was ideal as a wife devoted to her husband. Yeah, you couldn't get like more ideal than that. The Vedic civilization especially prepares chaste and devoted wives, of whom Gandhari is one amongst many mentioned in history. Lakshmi ji, Sita Devi ji, also daughter of great king, but she followed her husband, Lord Ramchandra, into the forest. Similarly, as a woman, Gandhari could have remained at home or at her father's house, but as a chaste and gentle lady, she followed her husband without consideration. So in other words, the women didn't have to go follow this procedure as the men were doing Vanprastha. The women didn't have to do that, but she did it anyway, followed her husband. Instructions for the renounced order life were imparted to Dhritarashtra by Vidur, and Gandhari was by the side of her husband. But he did not ask her to follow him because he was at that time fully determined, like a great warrior who faces all kinds of dangers in the battlefield. He was no longer attracted to so-called wife or relatives, and he decided to start alone. But as a chaste lady, Gandhari decided to follow her husband till the last moment. So Maharaj Dhritarashtra accepted the order of Vanprastha, and at this stage the wife is allowed to remain as a voluntary servitor. But in the sannyas stage, no wife can stay with her former husband. A sannyasi is considered to be a dead man civilly, and therefore the wife becomes a civil widow without connection with her former husband. Maharaj Dhritarashtra did not deny his faithful wife, and she followed her husband at her own risk. So, wife can go with the husband to the forest if she so chooses, but only to the Vanprastha stage. Once the husband becomes a sannyasi, totally giving up any association, then the wife has to leave, or she has to live on her own, and she took that risk. The sannyasis accept a rod as a sign of the renounced order of life. There are two types of sannyasis: those who follow the Mayavadi philosophy, headed by Srila Acharya, accept only one rod, ek danda. But those who follow the Vaishnavite philosophy accept three combined rods, three danda. That is us, Vaishnavas. So you get the Mayavadi, one danda, and Vaishnavite, three danda, or dandas. The Mayavadi sannyasis are ek dandi swamis, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are known as three dandi swamis, or more distinctly, three dandi Goswamis, in order to be distinguished from the Mayavadi philosophers. So that's one reason why they are three dandis, because so they don't get confused with the Mayavadi sannyasis. The ek dandi swamis are mostly found of Himalayas or Himalayas, but the Vaishnava sannyasis are found of Vrindavan and Puri. The Vaishnava sannyasis are Naruttams, whereas the Mayavadi sannyasis are Dhiras. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was advised to follow the Dhiras because at that stage it was difficult for him to become a Naruttam. A bit too late probably, and too much baggage he had. So he was asked to do this, and let's see what we can add. So when Dhritarashtra left home, he was going to take sannyas. He was going to break all familial ties. Gandhari went with him at her own risk. She did not expect any protection from Dhritarashtra. She had no expectation in return of her service to him, which she wanted to carry out. In the palace, he would give her all protection. So now she was really on her own. Gandhari had also heard Vidu's instructions and wanted to follow the same path. So she thought, well, let be it. If I will also take sannyas and just give up all familiar ties and do tapasya. It's recommended that we don't follow a path higher than our realization. Even though the higher path is recommended and preferable, we shouldn't have any imaginary pedestal of that we are higher than we actually are. Trying to cover up our 101 faults, even though we have 101 faults, we try to fool ourselves that I am Naruttam, a great Vaishnava, better than anyone. So we should introspect and really know what we really are, and not try to imitate, a great devotee or a Naruttam type of person. Otherwise, Krishna can make arrangements for you to fall. Higher you think of yourself, the harder you will fall. And Dhritarashtra had realized his mistake and was honest to himself. As Krishna conscious practitioner, when we become purified of our attachments, we should be excited. It's the greatest blessing. Just like when a warrior gets a beating from the opposition, he is happy. When a sannyasi experiences austerity in the Himalayas, he is happy. Because that's his payback. that this is their austerity. What else could we call it? Like return on their investment, because they think, well, this will purify them, right? This will purify them, so they're happy to experience these austerities, because like they've done a lot of nonsense. Now it's time to give back. Okay, so Dhritarashtra is totally 180 degrees turn. It's going to be a lot of austerity. Ajat Shatru Krita Metro Hut Agni Vipran Natpatil Go Bhumi Rukmehi Graham Pravishto Guru Vandanaya Nachapyat Putrao Sobalim Cha. So Ajat, never born, Shatru, enemy, Krita, having performed, Maitreya, worshipping the demigods, Hut Agni, and offering fuel in the fire, Vipran, the Brahmanas, Natva, offering obeisances, Til, Go Bhumi, Rukmehi, along with grains, cows, land and gold, Graham, within the palace, Pravishta, having entered into, Guru Vandanaya, for offering respect to the elderly members, did not Cha also, Apshyatsi, Pitrao, his uncles, Sobalim, Gandhari, Cha also. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, whose enemy was never born, now Maharaj Yudhishthira is going to come, so performed his daily morning duties by praying, offering fire sacrifice to the sun god, and offering obeisances, grains, cows, land, and gold to the Brahmins. He then entered the palace to pay respect to the elderly. So he had this daily ritual that he did, and as always, he done all his jobs. Now he's going to just say good morning to all his elderly relatives. However, he could not find his uncles or aunt. There's no Vidur, no Dhritarashtra, and no Gandhari, the daughter of King Subal. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was the most pious king because he personally practiced daily the pious duties for the householders. The householders are required to rise early in the morning, and after bathing they should offer respects to the deities at home by prayers, by offering fuel in the sacred fire, by giving the Brahmins in charity land, cows, grains, gold, etc., and at last offering to the elderly members due respects and obeisances. One who is not prepared to practice injunctions prescribed in the Shastras cannot be a good man simply by book knowledge. So it's practice that makes a good man, not just knowledge. Modern householders are practiced to different modes of life, namely to rise late and then take bed tea without any sort of cleanliness and without any purificatory practices as mentioned above. The household children are taken to practice what the parents practice, and therefore the whole generation glides towards hell. Nothing good can be expected from them unless they associate with sadhus. Like Dhritarashtra, the materialistic person may take lessons from a sadhu like Vidur and thus be cleansed of the effects of modern life. Maharaj Yudhishthira, however, could not find in the palace his two uncles, namely Dhritarashtra and Vidur, along with Gandhari, the daughter of King Subal. He was anxious to see them and therefore asked Sanjay, the private secretary of Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay was a very loyal servant of Dhritarashtra, and he's the one who saw the Mahabharat war, and in the Bhagavad-Gita, he's the one who's telling. He's got Divdrishti, whereas Dhritarashtra didn't have it, and he was explaining all the events to Dhritarashtra. So that's Sanjay. And so here you can see that Maharaj Yudhishthira is a king. Kings are known for sense gratification and following their own rules, and lots of enjoyment, late nights. But it's mentioned here that he was a very pious king, and he has pious duties for every day. And so he was a Vaishnav before he was even a king, and he was even becoming a king. He remained like a Vaishnav, and he would follow the procedures to the T. So it says that how can Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam call Yudhishthira Ajat Shatru when he had Duryodhana as his enemy? So how can we say that he didn't have any enemies when Duryodhana was his enemy? It's his vision that's Ajat Shatru. He never thought of his enemy as enemy. So he had, all kings have enemies, and now especially he's a king, he's got lots of enemies. But he does not see anyone as his enemy, so then he has no enemy, because it's his own point of view. He doesn't believe that he sees anyone as an enemy. So this even as a king had his morning duties, he would rise early and had a morning practice. We also have a morning practice that we follow. Mangal Arati is very important for those who are serious about spiritual practice. Even for material success, morning practice is important for them. So we have a Mangal Arati, we shower in the morning, do a chanting, follow procedure every day, and it's a really good procedure. I think even for the weekends, is fantastic. I was just thinking to myself that if we didn't have this, what did we do before? Sit in front of the TV, and it's called the idiot box, and it's an idiot, but it's a clever idiot because it just pulls you towards it. And like nowadays, before you had the TV times, now you can just see on the screen what's coming next, and it can drag you. If you're not going to work in the morning, you would just think, oh, I can watch this movie. Oh, there's a really good movie coming on later on. It's probably like 1 o'clock in the night or something. And you do that, you just carry on and on, and before it's 3 o'clock, then you wake up next day, 10, 11 o'clock, and that's the kind of life people live. Or they're out, they'll come home 1, 2 o'clock or later, and then sleep till very late. That's the kind of life, because there is no system. Or there's a system, but it's like not a very good system, not good for health, not good for the mind, and like that. So it's good to have a system where you can have a practice that is good for you, not just for the body and the mind, but the soul as well. A spiritual practice, very important. Now there are people, yet karmis, who are habitual to get up early. They will get up early. They are either studying, they do their studies, revision, or people will do some work, the kind of work they have. They will get up early in the morning. I've known people like that. They will get up really early in the morning and do all their work, get it out the way, like that. They have files to sort out or whatever they do. It's out of the way. They just want to get up early in the morning. So people do that, but they don't do anything for the soul. And whereas we, build that in as well, that we are doing our Mangalatis and our chanting, and not just body and mind, but for the spirit as well, which is very important. Actually, it's the most important thing to do. So 32. Tatra sanjayam asinam paprachodo vigna manasa gavalgane kav nastato vrido hinascha netreho. Tatra de sanjayam, onto Sanjay, asinam, seated, paprach, he inquired from, because he thought if anybody would know, Sanjay would know. He's the most confidential secretary. Udvigna mansa, filled with anxiety. Gaval Agne, the son of Gavalagan, Sanjay, Kav, where is Na Tatha, uncle, Brida, old, Hina Cha, and bereft of Netru, the eyes. So Maharaj, full of anxiety, turned to Sanjay, who was sitting there, and said, "Oh Sanjay, where is the uncle who is old and blind?" So where could an old and blind person go? That's the astonishing thing. Or why would he go? Especially in terms of Dhritarashtra, he had no really any plans to go anywhere. And it's mentioned that Yudhishthira didn't see his uncle as his enemy either. And this is why Maharaj Yudhishthira full of anxiety because he didn't see him as his enemy. He didn't see that, that he's the cause of all our problems, or, all that killing, they lost their children as well, and nearly had their grandchild killed off and by Ashwatthama, and so many millions of people are dead. He still doesn't see him as his enemy. And he's missing him already, what's happened. Excuse me. So, finally, 33. Okay. So, Amba chahat putrata pitrava kavgatha surat api mai akrit pragne hatbantu sa bharayaya asham samana shamalam gangayam tukito batat. So Amba, mother aunt, Cha and Hatputra, who had lost her sons, Artha in a sorry plight, Pitrvya, uncle, Vidur Kava, where Gatha gone, Surat Valvisha, Api Veda, Mai unto me, Ikrita Pragne, ungrateful, Hat Bandhu, one who has lost all his sons, Saha Dhritarashtra, Ba Yaya with his wife, Asham Samanaha in doubtful mind, Shamalam offenses, Gangayam in the Ganges water, Dukita in distressed mind, and Aptat fell down. So where is my well-wisher, Uncle Vidur, and Mother Gandhari, who is very afflicted due to her own son's demise? My uncle Dhritarashtra was also very mortified due to the death of all his sons and grandsons. Undoubtedly, I am very ungrateful. Did he therefore take my offences very seriously and along with his wife drown himself in the Ganges? So, Yudhishthira, he's thinking he's done something wrong, that they've just gone and committed suicide. The Pandav, especially Maharaj Yudhishthira and Arjun, anticipated the after effects of the battle of Kurukshetra. So I think there's some post effects taking place here. Everything's been processed now, and things have happened. And therefore Arjun declined to execute the fighting. The fight was executed by the will of the Lord, but the effects of family agreement, as they had thought of it before, had come to be true. Maharaj Yudhishthira was always conscious of the great plight of his uncle Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, and therefore he took all possible care of them in their old age and aggrieved conditions. He felt sorry for them, to be honest, and he wanted to do the best for them. When therefore he could not find his uncle and aunt in the palace, naturally his doubts arose, and he conjectured that they had gone down to the water of the Ganges. He thought himself ungrateful because when the Pandavas were fatherless, Maharaj Yudhishthira had given them all royal facilities to live, and in return he had killed all the Dhritarashtra's sons in the battle of Kurukshetra. So this is how Yudhishthira Maharaj thinks. As a pious man, Maharaj Yudhishthira took into account all his unavoidable misdeeds, and he never thought of the misdeeds of his uncle and company. So he's thinking, the fault is in me, the lack is in me, I have let them down. Dhritarashtra had suffered the effects of his own misdeeds by the will of the Lord. But Maharaj Yudhishthira was thinking only of his own unavoidable misdeeds. So he's not seeing any mistakes in Dhritarashtra, he's only seeing his own mistakes. When we're not perfect, and we can only do so much as well. He's a king, he has so much to do, and yet he's looking after the elderly at the same time. So as a pious man, Maharaj Yudhishthira took into account all his unavoidable misdeeds, and he never thought of the misdeeds of his uncle and company. Dhritarashtra had suffered the effects of his own misdeeds by the will of the Lord, but Maharaj Yudhishthira was thinking only of his own unavoidable misdeeds. That is the nature of a good man and devotee of the Lord. A devotee never finds fault with others, but tries to find his own and thus rectify them as far as possible. So a devotee takes responsibility. They say it takes two to tango. So he thinks that how could I have done things better? Where did I go wrong? And am I responsible for this? And I start taking responsibility. So like, it's because of me. Now this has happened. Am I to blame? So like that. So he's saying his fault that they left. That was his mentality. He was thinking that he was the cause of the battle as well. So many soldiers dying. Devotee checks his faults, instead tries to rectify his own faults. He works on his faults first, then others. So he thinks, well, I can change myself. I can't change everybody else, but I can change myself. What do I need to do? What what do I need to work on? And oh, Krishna, is it me? Even these are the only people left now. Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Vidur, have they committed suicide as well? And I was already responsible for so many deaths. Now, the final people who are still alive, they've gone as well. All these things are going through Yudhishthir's mind, that this is not blaming anyone else. He's thinking, I am to blame for everything. So that's the scenario we're in. So anyway, I'd like to hear from yourselves. Okay. Right. So we'll hear from what's time? Yeah, Kiran Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Yeah, lot of significant points here, such as the fact that Vidur was the one who was the younger of the two brothers, but he was the one who was able to give guidance. So it's not necessarily the elders who have all the wisdom. You can get it from the mouths of the babes. You got young people, you got children coming out with pearls of wisdom. So he was able to convince his brother, hey, it's time to move on. It's time to go and uh, repent. It's time to prepare for the reunion with divinity. And his dutiful wife, Gandhari, went with him. She was devoted right from the outset, to the extent that she was a chaste woman. And all the women that we come across generally in our scriptures are chaste, and they are very revered. And so she was no different. She was devoted, and she went and uh, was the dutiful wife. Um, yeah, there was those possibilities. Sannyasis, when they leave home, they uh, 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 abdicate everything, and hence their wives become almost like living widows, as it were. And hence, but on this occasion, they just moved and walked into the wilderness to uh, learn the ways of bhakti and be more repentant, and perhaps look at where they have gone wrong over the years. There was a discussion about the Vaishnavas and the sannyasis with three rods. The three rods indicate three elements. The Mayavads have the one rod, and that particular rod indicates something else. And so those sannyasis, those people have very uh, pious kind of values. Yudhishthira was no different. He was a very pious emperor, king, dutiful, to the extent, even in spite of and despite of what Dhritarashtra and the clan did, he was still forgiving, passionate, compassionate, and altruistic to them. He also looked for Sanjaya. Sanjaya was the one who relayed the Kurukshetra war to Dhritarashtra. I often used to think, how did Sanjaya have this vision? But obviously, these people have that ability to see ahead, to see what is actually happening. And obviously, Sanjaya had this CCTV, which was in his head, and he was able to convey to Dhritarashtra what was unfolding. Yudhishthira, of course, he had his weaknesses, the game of dice we've been through. But then that illustrates that in this journey to divinity, we will have flaws, we'll have limitations, we'll commit sins along the way. But Krishna is so merciful that he will give us chance after chance. But those of us should realize that you can't have too many chances, because you make one mistake, learn from it. If you make two, it's unforgivable. The third one is beyond reprehension. And so Yudhishthira was a very pious king. He was very rooted in the idea of divinity. He was very self-conscious of his flaws. At times he had self-doubts, self-beliefs, and flaws and gaps and anomalies. And he was keenly looking at how he could better himself. And Yudhishthira's life is a life that we are hopefully living. We have flaws, we have difficulties, we have blemishes. None of us are born perfect. And hence we are trying to achieve a level of grace and dignity in the interactions we have with the world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, so some problem I see, and I'm probably, the same, is that, we don't take responsibility. Things happen, we don't take responsibility. We just find faults, what the other person did, rather than, how we might have sort of promoted that, the interaction, that what happened. We don't take responsibility for our own actions. We just take just point at other people that it's all their fault. Whereas I think if we really look, then we find that we might have some blame in there as well. We could have handled things differently. It's like when people get divorced, and maybe at the time they're blaming each other, but later on they're thinking, maybe I could have done something, I could be more tolerant, or kept quiet at times, or I could have done this, that. I remember at my school, one teacher, he got married very young, and he was saying that he got divorced, and he says, well, I think I'm more mature now, and then if I would get married, I would handle things differently. So like that. So we at that time we blame other people, but when you really be honest with yourself, you think, well, I maybe I could have taken some responsibility here as well, and I am to blame. I can improve on myself, and you just trust him. He's taking all the blame, not blaming anyone for anything, just saying it's really all down to me. And thank you, Prabhuji. Ahina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I think Prabhu's kind of summarized the key points, but I think for me these verses just show us the high character of these individuals. So Gandhavi, you've got Vidura, Yudhishthira. These verses kind of are very insightful, they're instructive of the type of behaviors and the mentality that I should be. This is all me really, but I should be trying to develop. They were very, very highly elevated people, but it does give us something to strive towards in terms of the way that they conducted themselves and their relationships with each other. And Davi obviously being such a very loyal wife, a devoted wife in her example. Yudhisthira in terms of the way he, he's his insight into his morning sadhana here, his morning practices, how, offering respects to the deities, and then going to pay respects, prayers to the deities, and then paying respects to the elders. And despite everything that he's gone through with the war, etc., he was still, he had the utmost respect for Gandhavi and Yudhis and Dhritarashtra, regardless, as his uncle and aunts, regardless, so yeah, I think they were my key points. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, and yeah, he's following all the dharmas, isn't he? He's following the dharmas of his material life and his spiritual life. Is Dharmaraj. So, who else could do that? I guess, he's a very good, great example for all of us. And this thing about Dhritarashtra, I mean, he's left home quietly, probably right thing to do. Yet he did not apologize to anyone. He has not taken any responsibility, and the best really can do is go and repent, pay penance in the forest. But he hasn't admitted. Does he feel guilty of what's happened, or he is just aggrieved by the death of his children and grandchildren? But he doesn't seem to blame himself, and his wife hasn't blamed him either. That it's all your fault. We've lost everyone, and she's gone with him. So amazing. Thank you, Mataji. Praveen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Pranam. Yes, again, it's Yudhishthira's qualities that stand out. How he had the qualities, aversion to fault finding. He was not finding faults for what Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana have done, and he's still feeling sorry for them. It shows the purity of his soul, how pure he was, an exalted devotee. So I think that's what I need to learn, not to find faults in others, because that is our nature. So we know I was right, you did this. So we always blame the other person. So it's a very big lesson. So despite going through so many calamities at their hand, and he's still missing him and thinking, have I done something wrong that they have left? And also about his disciplined and regulated life, despite being the king. So very nice. And yeah, first I wasn't sure about the word Narottama and Dhira. So yeah, Narottama it's I just looked at the meaning Nar and Uttama, the best man. So yeah, like yesterday Mataji said, we have to try to be Narottamas. But like the other point you made, Prabhuji, you said like we have to realize who we are and not imitate. So the question came to my mind that, yeah, I know I keep saying, yes, I want to get initiated. But then is it better to keep practicing and rather than thinking, yes, I'm good enough to be initiated, and then do anarthas? So that thing that came to my mind. So is it not imitating in a way than thinking, yes, oh yeah, I am better now, or I'm doing everything right? Because we still have the tendency to make mistakes.
So you're asking me, Mataji?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my personal point is that initiation is you're committing yourself.
Yeah.
That's it's not, you're not imitating. Initiation means starting. It's not like if you receive initiation that you received a high position. That's what we got to avoid thinking. And people do that. That they think once they're initiated, that's it. Now we don't need to do anything. They see them disappear, stop doing services. They're doing a lot of services until they get initiated, and then nothing. They think, well, nobody can take this away from me now. But you think, were they just doing these services because they wanted to get initiated, or Brahman initiation, or did they, was they following a process that they thought was important? So like that. So initiation is important as a commitment. We are taking on a spiritual name, a spiritual identity. We're connecting ourselves to the disciplic succession. So to me, it's very, very important. Although there's all the Bhanumari was saying other things, and I think best to what we were taught differently, and I tend to agree with that. That we are committing ourselves. Otherwise, you're not really committed. I think it's okay because I'm initiated. I can eat onion sometimes. So, what does it matter? But once you've taken the vow, you promised your guru to practice, to listen to him, follow the instructions, follow the regulations. It's just a commitment that it shows. Krishna then sees that you are actually serious because you are committed. It's like marriage. If you marry, why do people marry? They can just live like people are living nowadays, just living together. So unless you initiate it, you are like just living together with Krishna. You need to marry Krishna, become one with Krishna, show your commitment to the relationship, and take the vow that I'm going to follow the regulations. I'm going to chant 16 rounds. I'm going to chant 25 rounds. This doesn't have to happen straight away. Some people may jump into it like we just jumped into it after 1 year. Others might take 10 years, 20 years. But to be honest, I think it is important to show that that commitment to God, that yes, you are serious and you will follow, that you're committing in front of the fire, the yajna, that I'm going to, in front of your guru, that I'm going to follow the instructions and follow the procedure. And like I said, it connects you to the disciplic succession, which is very important because the mercy flows to the disciplic succession. Just like the knowledge flows to the disciplic succession, the mercy also flows to the disciplic succession. So it needs to be connected to that disciplic succession. And unless you're initiated, you're not connected. You're following instructions, but you're
Yeah,
not.
but Krishna knows because Krishna is in our heart, Prabhuji, because when we are following everything, so Krishna knows we are following and we have surrendered to him. So, these questions keep
What
coming
is
to me.
surrender? What is surrender?
Yeah, following everything and knowing Krishna is the supreme controller and everything. So, I will never eat onion or garlic, even on holiday, because I'll choose not to eat if I think it's not right for me. So, I will only do the right things in any circumstances. So then we know Krishna is with us all the time. He's omnipresent. He's seeing not only our good things, he's seeing if we even have bad thoughts or we're doing anything wrong. So then that means we don't believe, yeah, Krishna is with us. If we think like only by doing certain processes. Yeah, I understand the importance, yes. But at the same time, I feel like I don't want to say somebody is doing wrong, but then you see things sometimes not happening the right way. Then I feel like, is it imitation just to have the position? Yeah, yeah, we are initiated.
No, like I said, to me, it's a commitment and
Yeah,
not a position. The
yeah.
initiation means start. Now we start. I mean, we were taught that all the services you do, all the activity you do, they all zeros until you get your initiation, you get a spiritual name, then one goes in front. Otherwise, your bank account is still nil. That's what we were taught, that your bank account is nil, and until you've taken on initiation, the one does not go in front of your bank account. We need a spiritual account. That's what's
Mm.
going to take us back. We need a spiritual account, and that. Anyway, having said that,
Yeah,
thing is,
sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm
Because
only can tell you.
different thoughts are coming to my mind, but I'll stop.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
thank you.
this is what we've been told, and
Yeah,
that's what we are following.
yeah,
There's no harm in following that.
yeah.
But
No,
like I said,
Prabhupada ji, he initiated
you may be
everyone.
you may
So
be serious, that's fine. But other people, unless they've taken a vow, that they might not follow it through. They think sometimes they might be under pressure to ignore it. But yes, you're saying you're doing everything, so if you're happy with that, then that's okay. Just carry on. But I mean, personally, I would take initiation. There's no, I mean, what is there to lose? If you're following everything anyway, so what have you got to lose by, nobody's going to take anything from you. They're giving you, not taking anything from you. So I don't see why there should be hesitation. It's not, you're getting a spiritual name. You get a new birth. What more can we ask? So nobody's taking anything. It's not like you have to leave home or family or anything. We're living so easy in the Kali Yuga. We're living like we are. Nothing's changed, just slight modifications, that's all. So there's nothing to lose, and where is the harm? I really, I don't know where is the harm in taking initiation and accepting a guru. There really should be no problem. It just makes you more committed to the process,
Yeah.
my personal belief anyway.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Anyway, you asked the question, so
Sorry. Yes. Thank you.
I've answered it, but rest is your choice, whatever
Yes.
you're happy with. And I know you're doing really well. You're doing better than many initiated people, so there's no problem there. But maybe you should again take advice from a guru, because I'm not initiating guru. Maybe take advice from an initiating guru. I'll tell you what you can do. Our next overview is with Vishal Gauranga Prabhu on the 17th of December. And he's very good. He's Japataka Maharaj disciple, our god brother, and he's going to be becoming a guru soon, initiating guru. So he's doing the overview. Please ask.
Yeah, we had one class with that Prabhu before.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
He's been. He was very good. Pundikaksh Prabhu was well, pleased
Yes.
with him.
Yeah.
And he's very close to our Guru Maharaj. He runs the whole show when Guru Maharaj comes here.
Yeah.
And he will be Guru himself very soon.
Yeah.
So ask him. Just make a note of this question and ask him. So let's see what he says to you.
Yeah. I think we need to do Guru Disciple course. Probably that will help as well.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, do that. But you only need to do that if you're going to take initiation. But ask him what he thinks. And, you can ask, I can only tell you so much. But a guru or somebody who is aspiring to be initiating guru, they can tell you a lot more.
Yeah.
Why are they aspiring to be initiating guru? Obviously, there's something in the process that's potent. So do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. And I think Rana just had to move. So we'll finish here. And thank you so much for the association, for your questions and your realizations. And we'll continue on Monday, Gita Janti and Ekadashi. And let's talk Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, discuss on Monday morning. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Prem Nande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.